today we're going to be making chocolate covered Oreos, and these are super easy to make. It just takes a little bit of time. I always see people buying them and I'm like, that's so easy to make. Of course, those look very professional and nice, and not saying they're not worth it, but they are expensive for what it is. And so for my son's birthday, for his class, I'm going to be making little packets, like 2 Oreos in a little packet, and just for him to give to his friends. So what you need is Oreos, of course. So I have 2 party size boxes of Oreos. Each one has about 52 cookies around there. And I have 6 bags of 10 ounces of the white chocolate. I guess it's vanilla flavored white chocolate. I heard the Ghirardelli ones are the best tasting as far as like candy melts. So I went with that. I think in hindsight, I would have gone with the brown, like the milk chocolate versus the white. Because I did this once before, like a test run, and white, unless, it's like, to keep it white and nice when you're working with Oreos was a little challenging. So yeah, first time, if you're doing it first time, I would do milk chocolate, but the white does look very nice. Then you're gonna need sprinkles. I'm doing red and black because that's his school colors. And I like to mix them in a little dish before I put it on the cookies. And then you're gonna need some gloves, parchment paper. I buy mine from Costco because it's so cheap and it's so good. You're gonna need, I'm using 2 baking sheets and just lining it with parchment paper. You don't have to, but this way all the sprinkles gets contained. Last time it was like all over the kitchen, so yeah. And then I'm going to use a shallow microwavable bowl. I'm using a small one just because I'm going to be doing like 1 bag at a time. And you want to use a fork or some kind of thing to dip it and scoop it out that has like wide tines, just so the excess chocolate can drip down. And I have a little spatula. So that is about it. We can start. I'm gonna have to make a lot of these, so let's just get into it. So I'm just gonna open 1 bag. Oh, I forgot to mention, I'm gonna be wrapping it in these little food safe self-sealing bags. If you have a sealer, that would be awesome too. Ideally you wanna seal it with the heat sealer. Then it's really airtight. This is a 3x5 silo bag, and it perfectly fits 2 cookies. So I'm pretty much gonna put the whole bag, and then on the instructions it says to do half power and then microwave it for 30 seconds and then stir, and then microwave it at 50% power for 15 seconds again, and then stir, and then keep doing it until it's smooth. Do not overheat it or burn your chocolate, or you're gonna waste like the whole thing. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that and come back. So this is what it looks like after 30 seconds of melting. Doesn't look like much, right? But you still need to mix it up. Your microwave has like hot spots, and you just don't want it to get too hot in one spot. So I'm gonna go ahead and microwave this again for 30 seconds or 15 seconds. While I'm waiting for that, I think I'm gonna try to de-crumb my Oreos. So I'm just gonna use like a little wire wrap with like something underneath. I'm gonna take out some Oreos. That's the problem I had like last time, when all the crumbs fell into the white chocolate and then kind of got mixed in. So I'm just gonna put a bunch on here. So I'm gonna go ahead and give this a stir again. Okay, and while we're waiting, we can mix our sprinkles. So I'm gonna be mixing some of these little black, white, and silver balls in. I like a variety, I guess, of colors and textures. And some of these black, white, long ones, jimmies, I think they're called. I don't know. And then some of this black, like sanding sugar type. So it's getting there. The bottom's getting more melted. So with milk or chocolate and dipping things in the chocolate, you do have to work pretty fast. So usually in Hawaii it's hot. Of course it's cold and windy, like we have a cold front here today while I'm doing this. So I'm gonna have to work faster than usual. So that looks perfect. So quickly now, I like to do about 4 at a time. I'm just gonna tap off the crumbs and I'm gonna put 2 in at once. And then just kind of, you can either cover it with the chocolate or you can just flip it over. Flipping it kind of incorporates more of the crumbs in if there's crumbs, so just something to think about. And I'm gonna get my fork and then just pick it up. So just make sure it's covered on all sides. There is a way where you have a mold and you put the mold, like the chocolate in the mold and the Oreo, but we're just doing it the easy way. I'm like not planning to do tons of these all the time, so but it's like this is good. I see like 1 crumb there, but it's okay. With the sprinkles, it'll be fine. I'm just gonna lay it on the parchment. You wanna make sure all the excess is off, just because otherwise it'll be like, they call it like a foot, right? It's like, it'll be flat on one side. And you can, I'll show you how you take off that excess, but then you wanna just minimize it so you have less to clean up. The main thing is that everywhere is covered with chocolate so that it kind of almost seals it in. That way you can make these like a day or 2 in advance. Like I'm making this for Friday morning and this is Wednesday night. So just kind of covering it in there. Or you can flip it. I find using the non-metal kind of helps with less crumbs, so use plastic. And then take off the excess. I hope you can see it, like, and if say it's like a little thin on one side, I don't think you can see them. You can see a little bit of the brown. You just go ahead and cover it. It'll drip down. So the temperature of your chocolate is very important. When it's this temperature, this is like perfect. It's dripping off, but it's not thin. Once it gets a little too thick, we're gonna have to microwave it again. So I'm just using the flat side of the spatula and scraping underneath the fork. And that takes off a whole bunch of the excess. Okay, so 2 more, and then I'm gonna have to sprinkle it before the chocolate solidifies, because you want the sprinkles to get stuck in there. And that was the thing about the other ones in the molds. You put it in the molds and then you put it in the fridge, and then it's like already solid. So then you have to put more chocolate to put the sprinkles on. I don't know, I'm not professional. So see how this one has a space? You just dip it in and it covers it. So super easy. These are super good like with the holidays too, because you can use like Christmas colored sprinkles or whatever, and then it looks really cute. Okay, so hopefully you can see that. Move this over. I have my tray. They're starting to like, once it gets matte, you can tell that it's getting solidified. So I'm just picking up some sprinkles and sprinkling it on. I like to kind of concentrate in the middle and then go around. But you can do whatever you want, really. Especially with kids, I don't think there's ever too much, or there's too little sprinkled, but never too much. So my son is turning 7 on Saturday. Can't believe it. Okay, so that's the first 6. Just, 60 more to go. So I'm gonna continue doing this and just fast forward through some. Okay, so I finished all of my Oreos and now we're gonna clean up. So, I mean, you can just pick it up. These are pretty cooled already. I didn't put in the fridge. I just let them cool on the side. Like I said, it's a kind of a cold day, so they're all set. I have a glass with water in it and I microwave the water for like 2 minutes, and then I have a metal knife. So I'm just gonna stick it in the hot water. I'm gonna let that heat up. I'm gonna wipe it, and then I'm going to smooth out any edges or anything that I wanna cut off, and also shake off the excess sprinkles. So I mean, it looks okay, right? I just need to like maybe smooth it out a little. Like this one would be one where I need to either break off the excess, and this is what I meant by the foot. So you can break it off or you can use a knife, and I'll show you. Okay, it doesn't have to be in there that long. You don't want to get the chocolate wet, so you want to wipe the knife off. Always wipe from the back of the knife. Don't wipe like that, okay? And then, like if you'll see, if you watch on here, it just melts the chocolate down, making it nice and smooth. So you can pretty much fix any little imperfections. And then I'm gonna put it on a fresh parchment sheet. So you can kind of, I like to turn the Oreo and then kind of cut the extra off. The more you touch it, the more it's melted, because your hands are warm, right? So move some of those sprinkles. This one had a lot of extra. And doing this with a knife just gives it a smoother, I guess, look. So when it's kind of cool, just put it back in the hot water. Like these ones are gonna be the sample because it's all messed up. Just gonna put this on the side. You can use the blunt side or the sharp side, either way. I feel like the thicker back part kind of holds more heat, but it doesn't really matter too much. And then if you get sprinkles on it, you kind of want to rinse it off so it doesn't color the other ones. Yeah, pretty easy. And then after this, we're going to package it. I don't do it all in one step just because it gets a little messy with the melted chocolate and the gloves and everything. So, and I also want to let this melted part that I fixed get cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and do all of this, and I'll come back and show you how I'm packaging this. So I'm just finishing up my last few pieces, and just some things like I thought I would share. I wouldn't hold like the cookie in one spot for more than 5 seconds. Otherwise the heat from your hand will also melt the chocolate. And also, like, say for this one, this is a good seal except for right here, right? And this will let in a little bit of air just for your cookies. I think it's fine if you are serving it in a day or two, but it will get more soggy than if it was completely covered. Like this one is almost, okay. Let me find, hopefully I have one that's completely covered. Okay, this is a sprinkle that got smushed, but this one is completely covered, so that's a good seal, and that'll stay crunchy in, the wrapping for longer. I also fixed a couple spots with like some extra chocolate. This one's fine. Maybe I'll have one like that right there, I could fix that with the hot knife. So I would just smooth it over like normal and cut off the excess. But see that there's that little spot. Again, you don't want to put too long. You can use a little bit of the chocolate and cover it and smooth it over with the hot knife. And then that's sealed. So for about 70, I use 5 bags of these chocolates. So I have 1 extra, and I might make more for his party. Okay, so now for the last step, I put on a fresh pair of gloves because you don't want to get fingerprints on these super clear cellophane bags. So when you put the cookies in, you want the top to be over here, right? And then you're gonna fold it and close it. So I have 2 different flavors. So I'm gonna just put in, and you also have to work quickly with this because your hand in the heat will melt. So I'm just gonna put one of these cookies in here and one in here. And then I'm just gonna line it up and then we'll bag after. And if you feel like you need a napkin, I just like don't want to get any of the chocolate on the cellophane bag. So I'm gonna go ahead and bag all of these and then I will come back. Okay, I'm just finishing up bagging the last few. Some things I wanted to, like some tips I just want to share after doing this, I don't know, 20 times. Keep one hand clean. This is the hand that's gonna touch the bag. I also am not touching any chocolate with my pinky finger because that helps like open the bag. And I'm only grabbing the chocolate with like my first 3 fingers. And that really helps keep it clean. No, little smudges here and there. I don't know. Because that just bugs me, I guess random fact, I did go to culinary school and graduated. So I absolutely cannot buy these like from the store. I'm like, I cannot. I have to make it or, do something else. And I think these are expensive when you buy it from someone. I'm not even sure. It must be like $6, $7 a piece. I don't know. Or like in a little bag like this. I don't know. I used to also have a ice cream sandwich business with my friend before our second kids. And that was fun. And that was a lot of bagging. So I'm like super particular about the bagging. I do have a heat sealer, but I also had these little bags, and really Oreos don't need to be like heat sealed, that's just a whole nother step. I did use that heat sealer to make bookmarks though, like shaker bookmarks last year. There's a video on that, like one of my first videos. Okay, so last couple. So these are all the mixed bags, and I have a couple, I guess I made extra of the regular Oreos. So after I do this, I'm gonna seal it with the adhesive, and I'll probably also make a little label. I like to buy AV labels from Costco in bulk, and then for, there's so many occasions where I have to make labels for snacks. So I'll just make a little AV label. I think it's like 5160 label or something like that, the address label. And you can go on avery.com, and it's so easy to make labels and print out a whole sheet. So that's what I'll probably do. Okay, let's put this on the side. Oh, see, I'm talking too much. I think those are the last 2. So now I'm going to change this glove out because I did get chocolate on them. Get a new glove. But yeah, that's why I'm like so crazy about like food safety and cleanliness, because that's a big thing when you go to school. So I'm just gonna remove the adhesive and fold it over, as neatly as possible. And you do want to fold over the excess so that it kind of creates a little seal, or like not airtight, but at least it's, you know, folded over like that. And let's see, let's put it right here. These cellophane things though get stuck all over. And I'll probably just put the AB label right there. But I think it turned out cute enough. Maybe I will take a photo of the finished product and put it on at the end. But yeah, other than that, thanks for watching, and I hope you try this. I think the product turns out really great and professional looking, and you can do this for like almost every holiday or occasion. You know, everybody loves Oreos. Everybody loves chocolate, so super easy. But yeah, thanks for watching, and please subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video.